Hi everyone. In this video about the ASAM, we are going to talk about what are the 6 ASAM dimensions. What the heck does that mean? So let me show you a slide that might help categorize. Uh, these are the 6 ASAM dimensions. The wording has changed over time a little bit as they have continued to update to new editions. But even if you're familiar with older editions of the ASAM, then you won't be completely lost. So dimension 1 is acute intoxication and or withdrawal potential. So as you are doing your biopsychosocial assessment with a client, you're going to be categorizing all of their symptoms, all of the questions that you ask them about themselves. You're going to be categorizing all of those symptoms into these 6 ASAM dimensions. So in this first dimension, what you're going to write down in there would be the last time that they've used or drank, whether or not they appear intoxicated at the time of the interview, whether or not they say they're having withdrawal symptoms right now. And if so, what are they? Or if they've had withdrawal symptoms in the past, particularly if they've had life-threatening withdrawal symptoms, specifically withdrawal from things like alcohol or benzodiazepines, which can be life-threatening. So you'd really want to note those because those are about safety, and those will change where you end up placing somebody overall for their initial level of care. So depending on what state you are in, different states have different requirements about how you write down information in each dimension. So for some states, the information can be written in more of a concrete bullet point kind of way. And then in other states, such as Washington State, they really want a robust ASAM with all of the information organized per the ASAM dimensions, and then a summary. And so you can't just list symptoms, you have to make sentences out of it, which you can do. Dimension 2, biomedical conditions and complications. You want to write down all of their current biomedical issues, current medications, and then also if they have had past major medical issues, past surgeries, medical complaints, whether or not they have access to a doctor, whether or not they've seen their doctor. So all of those different medical issues would go in Dimension 2. Dimension 3, emotional, behavioral, or cognitive conditions and complications. This tends to be a very robust dimension in terms of symptomology that your clients may present with. And so any previously diagnosed mental health disorders would be noted here. Any suspected mental health disorders would be noted here, or any general mental health symptoms, even if they don't meet criteria for a disorder, even if they will never meet criteria for a disorder, you would want to put those symptoms in Dimension 3. And the more detail you can provide, the better chance you have of developing a really excellent treatment plan to address these issues. And that's probably true for all of these dimensions. The more information you can get, the better judgment you will have when it comes to translating your ASAM dimension information into a really super treatment plan. And as a side note, that is why basic formulaic treatment plans that are not individualized to your clients don't tend to work very well because they don't necessarily address the underlying issues that are fueling the drinking or using behaviors. So when you hold up side by side your ASAM summary and your treatment plan, you should see a relationship between those two things. It doesn't mean everything on the ASAM has to be on your treatment plan, but it means you would probably pick the most important issues first to work on in the treatment plan. And when it comes to acute intoxication or withdrawal potential, that's at the top of the list. You can't do other treatment until that's under control. Same with biomedical conditions. If you have someone who's violently ill, you cannot put them into treatment yet. You have to get that medical condition stabilized. So that might be the entirety of your treatment plan initially. Dimension 3, also, if somebody is reporting that they have suicidal or homicidal ideation or attempt or self-harm, then that may automatically create an urgent need to place them at a certain level of care. And that might override where other levels of care would be recommended in other dimensions. So you're always going to treat what's most urgent to help the person be safe. You can't do any therapy if the person isn't safe, whether that is emotionally or physically. Dimension 4 is called readiness to change. And in the past, it was called treatment acceptance and resistance. It's the same basic idea. I think readiness to change is a nicer sounding label for this. Sounds a little bit softer, a little bit more respectful. And if you read through the ASAM and you compare it to previous ASAMs, which probably only a few people like me would ever do that, then what you will see is that, especially with this latest edition, they have taken great care and effort to use respectful terminology. And I really appreciate that they put in that kind of work. So this would be where you would say, yes, this person acknowledges that they have an alcohol problem and they're ready to stop. Or this person doesn't believe they have any kind of problem, even though they've gotten 4 DUIs. You could say a lot of different things in here, but it's really looking at what's their stage of change. Are they contemplative, pre-contemplative? Are they in the action stage of change? Are they in, have they gone into a relapse? So you would want to note that here. Speaking of relapse, there's a whole separate dimension for that. Dimension 5, relapse, continued use, or continued problem potential. So in here, you would want to note, has this person tried to abstain from substances before? Have they tried to cut down before? That's really useful information for us to know, because it will help us know if they've already tried some things and they didn't work. Maybe we don't want to retread there. We want to try something new. Or if they have had a successful period of sobriety, that's fantastic information. We want to know more about that. We want to know what helped you stay clean and sober. What information can we take from that and use in your treatment this time? Is there anything we can replicate there? So you'll want to know, do they have a relapse prevention plan? Do they recognize internal and external relapse triggers? All of those types of things in Dimension 5. Dimension 6, recovery and living environment. So you would want to note in here things like, where are they living? Do they have stable housing? Are they living with family members? Are they connected with their family members? What are their relationships like? Are they partnered or not? Is their partner supportive? Is their partner clean and sober? Do they go to school? Do they have a job? Do they hate their job? So all of those things having to do with recovery and living environment, you want to put into Dimension 6. And so what happens, you are taking your biopsychosocial assessment, where you're asking all of these questions of the client, and then you are organizing that information into the 6 dimensions. And many substance use assessment tools or substance use assessments are already organized in this manner. And that makes it a lot easier to then write a great ASAM summary, and also to consider what is the proper level of placement in each dimension. So if you are looking for more detailed information about the ASAM, or if you're wanting a cover-to-cover, start-to-finish training on the ASAM criteria and how to use it for admission, continuing care, and discharge, check out our website, pacificcrestclinical.com. We have periodic trainings for how to use the ASAM and what's inside the ASAM. If you like this video and you want more information and you want to stay up to date, then please subscribe. I hope this was really helpful to you. If you have comments, please leave them below and I will respond as soon as I can. Thank you.